A researcher and author of Full Spectrum Dominance, F.William Engdahl, joins us live now from across the Syrian border for his take on the latest developments. Thank you for joining us here today on RT. Now, senior Turkish officials accuse Damascus of cross-border raids and warn of a sharp response if this happens again. Now, what's Ankara actually preparing for, do you think?
Well, I think the Turkish government of Erdogan has, according to Turkish sources here in Istanbul, is split down the middle. Washington is pressuring Turkey to play the dirty role in Syria that France played in Libya, to be the stalking horse for United States interests there. But it's not having the effect because inside the Turkish government there's a split down the middle. After all, Syria is the next door neighbor to Turkey. 20% of the Syrian population, of the Turkish population, is Alawite, which is the same branch of Islam that the Assad family is from. So it's not so easy, and I don't see anything but saber rattling and bravado coming from the government, because they know that a military conflict from Turkey into Syria would be the end of the Erdogan government inside Turkey.
Turkey is a NATO member. Can it rely, though, on military support from its allies if a direct conflict with Syria breaks out?
Well, there will be no direct conflict with Syria. These are, as has been pointed out by many neutral observers, these are armed gangs of mercenaries, often who don't even know, according to some people I've spoken with who've been throughout Syria, they don't know who they're fighting for or fighting against. They're just paid money, given guns, and go in there. They're Al-Qaeda. Hillary Clinton is supporting Al-Qaeda, if we're to take her literally. So this is a little bit bizarre. It's the kind of chaos scenario that you have already in Libya, where there's no organized government. There's just bandit gangs that are roaming the streets trying to control different parts of turf. So
tens of thousands of Syrian refugees have fled into Turkey in recent months. How is Turkey supposed to stop that? Well,
if they stop material support for the so-called rebels, then I imagine it will stop rather quickly. I think reports I have are that the al-Assad government inside Turkey has much more popular and broad-based support, because this is viewed as a foreign intervention into Syrian affairs, and even Sunni populations are much more closely rallying around the government. So this is not as simple as the toppling of Gaddafi in Libya was for the United States. And it's also the fact that Russia, China, Iran, and various other entities have drawn a line in the sand and said, no, we will not let Syria fall. That has put a huge crimp in Washington's plans for an Arab Spring in Syria. So I don't think this is going to happen.
Now, Turkey is said to be harbouring Syrian opposition leaders and even the headquarters of the rebel Free Syrian Army. What's Ankara seeking to gain by supporting regime change forces?
Well, I think Ankara is under enormous pressure from Washington. CIA Director Petraeus is almost weekly here on visits. We can imagine he's not talking about the quality of Turkish tea. And Washington has other ways that it's pressuring. Saudi Arabia, from all reports I have, is playing an extremely ugly role, both with the Erdogan government in Turkey and also in Syria, to try to create regime change, along with Dubai, where Al Jazeera is owned by the Dubai government. So it's a faction within the Arab world united with Washington to try to force regime change inside Syria, and that's simply not happening after 1 year on. So I think there's a big recalculation, and I have the sense that Washington is trying a fallback plan B of simply portraying Russia and China as the greatest offenders against world peace by defending the Syrian government, and to try to give them a bad face in the eyes of the world community. And I don't think that's going to wash either.
But if the UN fails to take decisive action on Syria, won't it be up to the country's neighbours like Turkey to intervene and resolve the conflict by force?
No, Turkey has no business intervening in the affairs of a sovereign country, even if it's its next-door neighbour. These are the rebels are being armed from outside, and they're being sent in from outside. They've been trained by the CIA, by French intelligence, by British intelligence, and sent in there to create these incidents, these random shootings of civilian buses, school children, and so forth, and then to blame it on the government. So, and that I've documented from numerous sources who've traveled directly through Syria as independent foreign journalists. And I think this is what's going on. You have journalists from Al Jazeera resigning in protest because Al Jazeera, under pressure from the Dubai government that owns it, is refusing to tell the truth about what's going on inside Syria. This is an armed intervention, an illegal violation of the UN Charter by the United States and various other countries, including most likely Turkey, to try to destabilize an established regime. Okay. That should be against the UN Charter.
All right, we'll have to leave it there for now. Live from Istanbul, that was researcher and author F.William Engdahl. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
RT.